I don't know about you, but I have struggled with confidence my whole life, and sometimes I still do. And so today I want to share with you 5 ways to help you feel more confident for whatever you need to be doing: a job interview, an important meeting at work, on Zoom or in person, or a presentation, or a wedding toast, or a change in career direction, or a really important conversation that you might need to have with somebody and you're not feeling very confident about. So whatever you need more confidence in. Before I get to that, I should introduce myself. I'm Jenn Swanson with careersbyjen.com, and I help you to get the job, to love your work, and to advance your career. And if you haven't already subscribed, I encourage you to click the red button below and hit subscribe. And if you hit the little bell, then you'll be notified every time I upload a new quick career tip video for you, so that you don't miss anything that I'm doing here on the channel. All right, well, let's get into the 5 ways that you can feel more confident. The first one is a very physical suggestion, a very physical tip. Did you know that your mind can take cues from your body? I'm feeling kind of stuffed up here, so apologies for that. Your mind can take cues from your body. Just the way that we hold ourselves can have an effect on how we feel and how our brain thinks. There was actually a study published in the Journal of Psychological Science a few years ago that showed that standing tall with an open stance, so hands on your hips or hands outstretched, standing tall with your arms out in some way can help you to act and to feel and to think more powerfully than if you're hunched or closed in and sort of, sitting down like this. And there's a whole TED Talk on this topic, if you haven't seen it yet, by social psychologist and body language researcher Amy Cuddy. And I encourage you to go take a look at that. And I can stick the link to that TED Talk in the notes, the description box here below, because Amy Cuddy talks about the superhero stance and how you can increase your confidence boosting hormones that you have by just standing in a certain way for a few moments before doing something that you need some extra confidence for. So before your next event, when you need to feel really confident and aren't so much feeling it, my suggestion is to go into the bathroom, somewhere private, quiet space, empty room, whatever it happens to be. You can even do it in your car if you're about to go into an in-person meeting, and to stand up like Wonder Woman or Superman, hands on your hips, chin up, chest out, and just breathe in that pose for a few moments. And your brain will take the cue from the stance that your body has, and you'll be surprised. Then when you're in the situation that you need confidence for, be sure that in that situation you are also sitting up in that same power stance with your chin up and your shoulders relaxed and back and your chest out, and continue that confident pose, and your brain will take its cue from how your body's sitting. You can feel that sometimes if you see somebody walking into the room like this. It's a very different aura about that person than if they're sitting up tall and straight. So you will feel and you will appear far more confident to the people that you are speaking with if you've got your body in the right position. So my first tip there was physical posture. It can change your level of confidence significantly. All right, that was the first tip. The second way is also somewhat physical, and it has to do with what you're wearing. Now, I know that you might not care about what it is you wear, but clothing has an enormous impact on how you feel about yourself and what others think about you. Clothing is actually a form of communication. And I talk about it in the book that I wrote, What They See, How to Stand Out and Shine in Your New Job, that I've got available on my website. It is a form of communication. It makes a very big difference. What you wear makes a difference to how you feel and how other people perceive you. When you wear something that you feel really good in, no matter what it is, it has an impact on how you present yourself and on what you think. Whether you agree with it or not, it has an impact on what other people think of you too. I used to teach communication courses in a healthcare program in the college, a couple of colleges that I taught in, and I would send the students out on a secret assignment that they then had to reflect on and write me a paper about afterwards. And what the assignment was I asked them to dress in a particular way. So it could be no makeup, sweats, casual clothes, what you would wear to lie around in your couch, don't bother doing your hair, etc. And to go into, they didn't have to be that drastic, but just something comfortable, and go into a place of business, didn't matter where, and take note of how they were treated. And then they were to dress up, and they could interpret that dressing up in any way they wanted to. I had one student who actually dressed up in a bunny rabbit costume. So it doesn't mean you have to put on a suit or get all decked out, but the idea was to get dressed up and go back to that place, the very same place of business, and see if they were treated any differently than they had been the first time. And then they were to write me a paper about it. And the results were sometimes astounding. Some reported being followed around the shop as if they were about to shoplift when they were dressed down. Some reported being completely ignored when they walked into a fancy handbag shop or a department store or a higher end shop. They were treated vastly differently than when they got dressed up and went back. They actually got attention. They were spoken to with respect. And this kind of finding often would shock and infuriate and frustrate the students, and really made them realize that we judge people by what they wear, whether that's right or wrong. We judge people by what pieces of cloth they put on their bodies. And I assigned this assignment that I thought was really pretty impactful because the students were studying to work in the hospital system and to work with not only patients but family members and the public who would come in and approach the desk on a hospital unit. And so I wanted them to understand being judged by how you look is a real thing, and to perhaps think about that before they judge the people that they were going to be talking to, so that they were careful to really remember that that's not a really cool thing, that it happens, that we do it, but that maybe we shouldn't. So clothing communicates something to those that you are interacting with, and when you feel good in what you have on, that shows and it comes across, and it can contribute to you feeling more confident if you're wearing something that you know you look good in and that you feel good wearing. So clothing is the second tip for you in helping you to feel more confident. And there are lots of things on YouTube that you can check out to figure out how to dress in a way that feels more confident and more communicative for the way that you want to come across. So you can find all sorts of things here on YouTube. The third thing to do is to be you, is to be yourself. That old saying is, be yourself, everyone else is taken. So trying to be anyone else is just not authentic. Now, many of us fall into that comparison trap, and there is a thing out there that if you find somebody you want to be like, you should emulate them, but not be them. You can do things that they do, but you're not going to be them. And the thing is, the fact that you even exist is miraculous if you get down into all of the things that had to line up biologically and timing-wise for the exact you to even be here. It's a miracle. You are a miracle. There is no one else that is you. So why try to be someone else? Now, what I always try to encourage in everything that I do at Careers by Jenn is to encourage you to be the best you that you can be, but always your authentic self. Pretending to be something you're not or somebody you're not, you can tell. People can tell. So when you are comfortable in your own skin and you begin to live from that place of authenticity and you are being genuinely you, your confidence will increase and it will show and people will notice. Absolutely. So that's my third tip, is to be authentically you. All right, 2 more. The fourth thing is to work on changing your state of being. And there is an exercise that I do in my coaching that uses NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. This is how our words and our bodies are connected, how words affect our neurology. It's very cool. And it has to do with inviting the coaching client to put themselves into the state they are in when they do something that is they are 100% completely confident in doing. So my question for you is, what is something, doesn't matter what it is, what is something that something you can do that you are excellent at, that you can do without even thinking about doing it? What can you do that you are completely and utterly confident that you can do well in? So think about that. It can be something as simple as making a really good pan of scrambled eggs, right? Can you sing really well? Is it playing a card game or playing a sport or painting a wall or writing a report, or it can be baking a cake or growing tomatoes or performing some kind of a task. It doesn't even matter what it is. Choose something that you know you can do 100% well and put yourself into the same state that you are in when you do that thing. Just set yourself into that state, imagine yourself doing that thing, and then dissect it for a moment. So how do you feel in your body when you do that thing? When you do that thing 100% easily, what does your body feel like when you do that? What are the words that your mind is telling you? What things do you tell yourself about that thing? Do you hear anything? Do you see any colors? So what are the things around that experience? Take that whole experience apart into its tiny parts. You might even want to write them all down. All of the things that you discover in your dissection, and then see if what of those things you can translate to the new situation that you are not feeling as confident in. What can you port with you? We call it mapping it over. What can you map over to the new situation? Because you have been in a situation before of complete confidence, so you know what that feels like. And if you can consciously take that state of confidence and move it over into this new situation and try it on for size and do the new thing the way you do that old thing in your body and in your mind, your confidence level will go up. It's an interesting exercise. It does take practice. Often we practice that with clients to help them get into that state, but it can go an awful long way to making you feel more confident in anything that you want to do. So that is the fourth tip, which is to change your state. Figure out what state you're really, really good at something in, and see if you can shift that state over to this new thing that you want to do with confidence. And the last thing that I have for you today is don't wait until everything is just perfect. As Nike said, just do it. You might otherwise be waiting and waiting and waiting for a long time. A person can be paralyzed by trying to be perfect. I've been guilty of this, and I know lots of people who are not starting something until it's just right. And then they never end up starting it because it's never just right. You can miss all sorts of opportunities by trying to have everything just so. And so if you are somewhat prepared and say yes to whatever it is, then you'll be motivated to get busy and figure out how to do it well. And honestly, in many cases, confidence grows with experience. So even if it doesn't turn out perfectly the way you wanted it to the first time, the more times you practice, the more interviews you go to, the more times you stand up and give a speech, the more times you have difficult conversations, the more your confidence should go up. So waiting until the perfect time or until everything is utterly perfect before you step up is not always the best strategy. And of course, this depends on what it is you're doing. I mean, if you're an artist, you might want to wait until your piece of paint, your artwork, your painting is perfect before you're happy that it's finished. If you're a surgeon, perfection is important. If you're a pilot, perfection is critical. So what I'm talking about is not doing something because you're using perfectionism as a procrastination tool. Sometimes lots of us are really good at that. So that's what I'm talking about. In cases where it doesn't matter if it's absolutely, utterly perfect, because done is better than perfect, right? I love that expression. So stretch a little, say yes, take a deep breath, and just do it. Go for it. All right. Those are my 5 quick career tips of the day today, my friend. Thanks for watching. And again, please subscribe and like this video and share it with somebody if there is somebody out there you know who could use some help feeling a little more confident before they have to do something where they're not feeling so confident. All right, I'm Jen, and I really appreciate you. I'll see you next time.